tell us when she came to me. And you know that question, why? I went through persecution. I went through interrogation by the military because I'm Chinese born. I hadn't done anything wrong except trying to go home. And so I was arrested and interrogated for 2 weeks. And all I could cry out was, why? And he told me just because I was born Chinese. And so I had to go through that. So now you know that I consider my life an absolute miracle. I'm here because there was no way back then that I could escape. And I constantly was saying, how can I leave? How can I escape to this beautiful country of the Western people? Because my community thought that the Western people, in my little village where I grew up, no one has ever seen someone with white skin or blonde hair or blue eyes. To us, you are a phenomenon. You are like God and goddesses. You are the best. And so I was told, you know, those Western people, they're better than you are. They're better than you are. So in my mind then, I began to read all these stories. Countries with the snow, this strange thing called snow fell. And people walk around with white skin, beautiful, different colored hair, not black. All I could see was black. Blue eyes. So I considered myself ugly, because that's what my mother keeps telling me. You are ugly and a child from hell. And so, because I was so different from everyone else. And so that's my background closely. And then the lady Quan Yin came. And my whole life changed. I was here. Finally, that's a long story. It's just that I escaped. Against all odds. Against all odds. I still sometimes wake up and I say, wow, how did I get here? And so she said that there was a reason for my life. And I'm to bring you this message. And all of you have already worked and done your programming, your job really. What you're supposed to do here on earth. So to help us understand all this, the lady Quan Yin, as you know, is always connected with the lotus. In the Chinese culture, the lotus is a flower of life. So she said, look at the lotus flower. The lotus has an incredible life cycle. First, there's the seed. And the seed, it looked like a little acorn. If you ever seen a lotus seed, look like a little acorn. It has to, the lotus has to. It has to go down to the mud. A sage once said, no mud, no lotus. You have to go down to the mud. And this is what the lady Quan Yin says. The lotus seed, okay, brave lotus seed, has to go into the mud, deep into the mud. And it has to allow the mud to enter it, because without the mud, it cannot grow. You are the lotus seed. And you came down into the mud of duality. Okay? And the mud, what is the mud? But all those emotions, all the pain of those experiences you've been talking about and sharing with us for the past 4 days. The pain, it's all what I call the mud. And it has to come in to the seed, to soften the seed up. And this has been going on for millennia of years. And so, what happens? As the lotus seed allowed the mud to come in, it begins to expand, becomes softer, right? And it allows the mud to surround it, accepting the mud within itself, like we accept this pain. All of you, when I listen to your stories, you came to that realization that you had to accept this pain and this experience, this human experience. And then one day, when you are so filled with this already and you come to that point where you say, enough, no more. And that's what the seed is saying. I have enough mud now, no more. And at that point, if you look at a seed, it will begin to open. If you ever notice a seed, it will open in two halves. And what comes out in between? A stalk comes out. And this, it has to come through this dimensional barrier, come out of the mud into the water. Everybody okay with that? We are at this point to come out of the mud. And this is what the Goddess is saying. This is you. And now, 2012, we are about to break free out of this mud, to enter the next stage of our ascension process. And as the stalk grows, remember there are currents in this water. And there's fish that will bite you. There are crabs that will kick you. And there's stormy waves that will hit you. But if you ground yourself, ground deeply, connect with the Earth Mother, the roots that the lotus seed has begun. That's how it begins, with the roots, with the grounding, with the connection with the Earth Mother. Because the mud is the earth and the water. Combination of all, and you grow. And here is what I call the ascension process. And the pathway. Because you have to broach another surface. This surface is where the blue sky and the sun is. When the lotus is here, the plant, it sees the light, but it knows it's still... Okay. It still has to go through all this before it reaches that sunlight, and only then, here, when it finally can grow into the lotus. To open itself to the great central sun and to begin to see the blue sky. Begin to see that higher frequency that we are all going into. And this is the path. There are many, many pathways. But this is the path that the Goddess is showing us. Because we are the seed. This is the message. We are ready to broach this level and go further up. We all volunteered, by the way, to get in here. I keep saying, us volunteered to go in the mud. Well, yes, we did. We did it because we love the all that is. We are one. We are one. And through our love, and the love of the all that is, we have given ourselves to go through this process of growth. And when we do that as a mass consciousness, imagine what heaven for us will be like, because it is already here in the works. Because this, can you imagine, with this service begins where it is going to be full of lotuses of every color, every shape, every size, think of a field of lotuses. That's what we are. And I hope, and I know you will, understand that what you have done is of the utmost importance. Because through you, the mud is transformed into something I call miracle grow. And with the miracle grow, this talk can grow strong into the lotus. So miracle grow, start transforming. I thank you.